this story today. Rising in the cities around them as Jesus is making his way to the various places. I'm good. Just take a minute to step away from the crazy, step away from the chaos. Here he is at the home of a friend, and he's able to just relax. I recall one summer I was traveling for the North American division to the point that I had done six trainings in 3 months. And so my last one for the summer was in Ohio. And it was pretty cool. It was a creative ministries training. So me and my friends went over to Ohio, and we did puppets, and we did clowns, and we did balloon twisting, and we did all of these fun things to talk about doing gospel ministry. And one of my friends, Amber, happens to live in Columbus, Ohio. And since that's where the training was at, she said, hey, why don't you just stop on by, and I'll cook something. We don't need to go out to eat, just stop by. And she had just had a baby, so I stopped by and I played with her baby, and I ate her food, and I just sat at her house and said, oh, it is so good to not be working. That's not me, right? No, it's not me. I turn my stuff off. So, and I said, it's so good to just be at home and to not be working and not be on all the time, constantly trying to do. And I think that's how Jesus felt as he was sitting in their house. Just none of the extra pressure, none of the expectations, none of the drama. Just sit and relax with his friend. Which begs the question, where is your home base with God? How do you cultivate an awareness of God's presence in your life? It's easy to lose focus. We can become desensitized to the truth. And Mary sat at the Lord's feet, but Martha was distracted. She lost focus of the gift of Jesus in her home and became distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. So what is distracting you from Jesus? Because what distracts us is often linked to what defines us. Martha lived in a day and age when women were evaluated based on how well they kept home and entertained guests. Martha mistakenly believed that Jesus held the same estimate. So you need others to like you. Maybe you need to make more money and more money and more money, because you've defined yourself by the kind of clothes you wear, or the cars you drive, or the status symbols. Me? I always needed, or need, depending on who you ask, to be the smartest in the room. I stressed over grades since kindergarten. I distinctly recall asking myself if I was going to get a check or a check plus in tying my shoes. Over the years, needing to be the smartest has taken its toll. Yes, I am talking about things like sobbing on the phone to my calculus teacher because I don't understand the assignment. That was embarrassing. But my desire was rooted in my belief that I had to have all of the answers. I had to have it all together. I had to be in control. I'm going to try it all. It's hard to maintain healthy relationships, strangely enough, when you always have to be right. It's hard to live up to your own sanity or insanity. And having a relationship with Jesus is really hard because the one thing you know, with him, you're not the smartest in the room. With him, you're not in control. So devotionals get hard. And she finds herself in direct conflict with Jesus and her sister. When we are distracted from our focus on God, we have problems with God and one another. We become discontent, and when we lose focus, we get irritated and frustrated and overwhelmed and upset because we got distracted. It wasn't just that she faced her problems, it's how she faced them. She could have done one of several things. She could have said, nobody else seems to be worried about dinner. Even Mary is sitting at Jesus' feet. I will, A, evaluate my life choices and determine that this is in fact what I'm called to do in this moment, and go back to work, satisfied. And when he rebukes, Jesus is gracious. He speaks to the heart of the issue and shows grace. Jesus points to the problem. Mary is worried and upset because she is focused on all these details. She's stressed about candlesticks, but she's in the presence of the light of the world. She's worried about the bread in the oven, but she had the bread of life in her living room. She was worried about quenching people's thirst, and the living water was already taking care of that. Jesus redirected Martha away from the details she was worried about and onto him. Mary had discovered the beautiful truth that Jesus is what matters, and she chose to focus on what matters. This isn't about priorities, because priorities is about what you do first. This is about focus. It's about staying fixed on the mark no matter what else you're doing. We need to cultivate focus. It's not checking off a list that you did your devotional today. It's walking with Jesus always. It's not showing up to church each week. It's letting God show up in your life all week. Cultivating focus means changing how you look at life. So what are you focused on? Are you fixing your eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith, or are you struggling against the wind, trying to race in your own strength? Are you lifting your eyes to the hills from whence cometh your help, or are you overwhelmed by the mountain in front of you? Are you keeping your eyes on Jesus, or are you overwhelmed by the waves? If you're distracted by other things, let this be your call to return your focus to Jesus, where it belongs.
Is found is where you are, and where you are, Lord, I'm free. Holiness is Christ in